Hello, and welcome to the 50th anniversary celebrations of the foundation of the Agivey Anglers Association. I've been fishing the River Agivey for close on 70 years. I caught my first trout in the Round Allets when I was about 7 years of age, and I caught my first Agivey salmon in Lynn's Plum when I was 16. In those days, all you needed was a salmon licence, and we bought that in Jack Templeton's shop. I went up to Queen's University in 1968, and by the time I came back to Garva in 1980, the whole vista had changed. The Agivey Anglers had formed a club in 1973. So we're very pleased to have with us this evening three of the founder members of the club who were instrumental in setting it up. Matt Smith, Graham Kane and Jimmy Black. You're very welcome, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. President, we'll start with you. Firstly, what was the reason for setting up the club? Why was it necessary?
Well, the farmers had annoyed John.
Right.
Trespassed and damaged the fences and leaving gates open.
Okay.
I played at their hands because when we took the agreement to the farmers, they thought about all these things.
Okay.
And it would be an advantage to have something they could go to, to get things fixed. And thank goodness we got a good response from the farmers side.
And Graham, you were involved right from the word go. Did you have much bother getting agreements, or was there a lot of work involved?
Well, there's an awful lot of running up and down the river.
Tell us about it, because I was absent from my post at that stage. I came back in 1980. The whole thing was done and dusted.
You were very lucky to be away at the time. No, with the trying to establish who owned fishing rights.
Okay.
And it was very complicated because the Irish Society reckoned they owned all the fishing rights in County Londonderry or Derry, wherever they wanted to be.
Yeah.
But whenever we looked into it, discovered that the O'Cavan lands were not included in their agreement.
I see.
And also the church lands were not included. So various people, or in fact, some riparian owners, in fact, had fishing rights.
I see.
But it was very complicated to work out which were which. So we negotiated with the Irish Society for the fishing rights that they did have.
Yes.
And we negotiated with each of the farmers if they would give us the right towards the land and to give us whatever fishing rights they may have on their land, which worked very, very well.
Good. And Matt, you were involved obviously at the start as well. Did you have to go around? Were you given special areas to go around, or?
We went around all the farmers.
Okay.
And we got permission from every farmer.
Okay.
But I must mention one man here who was a big influence on the Agivey Anglers was Jim McCann.
Correct.
Yeah.
Jim McCann, I would say, was the man that started the Agivey Anglers. To be quite honest with you, because 5 to 10 years he was at us to get that going.
Right.
And we got it going, finally got it going.
Okay.
And that was at the start of it.
So it basically started in Agivey.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's aye. Apparently it tried to be started in Garva. What was wrong, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. But anyhow, as soon as we got our bit going, they got their bit going.
I see.
So it went right up to the Glen. The whole thing. The whole thing was finished.
It was all
That
done.
was it.
How long did that take? How many years?
Oh,
Not very long. Not very long, because all the farmers was easy to talk.
Well, it would be around.
Of course we were helping them because
Yeah.
we were getting the people to close the gates and one thing and another. And I mean we were fitting again. There no farmer ever stopped any of us.
No, locals. Locals.
Locals.
Well, had prior to the establishment of the club, was it open season? Like, could you come from anywhere?
Oh,
As long as you-
hi. They were from everywhere.
All over the country.
They were coming in even car loads
Yeah.
at that time.
So something
And
had to
then-
be done.
And the weekend was terrible. You wanted near the river, you know.
Yeah.
So John McCann decided that he would start a club.
yes.
And he was definitely the man that started the
So-
Agivey Anglers.
Hats off to Jim McCann.
Unfortunately, not with us any longer,
No.
but he
I
was
dare
a
say.
great man for the club.
Who was on the original committee?
Well,
Obviously the three of you were. Are you the only three that are left now?
I thought we go, we've nearly forgotten. But I was the secretary and Norman McAteer was
That's
the
right.
treasurer and Tommy Hunter was the chairman.
Was.
Right.
And
He must have been a young man.
Aye.
Yeah. And Bert Atkins was on it and did an awful lot of the style work.
Yeah.
Jimmy Black was there and he did an awful lot too. And John Smith, Matt
right.
Smith,
Aye.
of course.
Aye.
Yes.
Tommy
Joe
Tommy Donaghy from Kilray was on it too.
It was.
Joe Calvin.
Joe Calvin.
Joe Calvin, aye.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember Joe was very active.
Aye, Joe
Yeah.
Calvin was there.
I think Jack Templeton was on it, but maybe not at the very beginning. But
Okay.
Jack.
Aye, later on Jack was on.
Yeah.
Aye.
He may have been in there at the first meeting.
Okay. Of course, there were huge numbers of salmon running the river in those days.
Oh God.
It was
aye.
not, I mean, they talked
Oh,
about,
aye. Oh, aye.
and long after, they talked about, 60 fish an hour going over a
That's
carrier,
right.
100 fish an hour.
Well, they always said up on the Three Oaks, you could have walked over the car
Oh, aye.
on the fish's back.
I know, that's right. Aye.
Aye.
And the average fish, the average gross was £6, and sometimes
That's right.
more.
Aye.
Sometimes
Aye.
more.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the numbers have certainly gone down. That's
Oh, they
for
have
sure.
surely.
Decimated.
Oh, terribly.
I mean, there were big salmon too. Then the
Aye.
gross was one thing, averaging £6-7, but then there was fish 12, 14,
There was a
16
couple of
pounds.
things, happened after that. These passes they put in the car races
Yeah.
was not a good thing.
Why do you say that, man?
Well, you had always got fish down in the lower end when they couldn't get over
Of
Barclays,
course.
which gave you good fishing from that to the ban.
Yeah.
But you don't get that now.
Now they just go straight on up.
Stayed on it.
Yeah. Or they did.
That,
when
that
they
was
were
a bad. That was a bad do.
Yeah.
But that was done with somebody that was sitting behind a desk and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know.
No, well, okay, I remember that now. It's coming back to me. Back in the 80s and 90s, they talked about that. But the fish were getting up far
they
too
did, surely.
fast.
Aye.
Far too fast.
Sure, I know 2 or 3 men tried to block it. They tried to put stones, big,
Yeah.
great big stones.
Yes.
The first flood come,
Away they went.
way the stones went.
Yeah.
All right enough, it was good fishing at that time.
Yeah.
No, they said that there were so many fish going up at that time and that they were going right up to the top end.
Yeah.
That the farmers up there were pitchforking
Yeah,
out the
Aye, they
river
were,
That's
surely.
right.
for cattle feed.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, these stories don't lose anything in the telling.
Oh, aye. Oh, aye.
The biggest salmon that was caught in the Agivey was Mervyn Norris. Got a 22-pounder.
That's right.
Prior to that, I think John Johnson had the record at £17.
Was it 18 or
It
17?
might have been £18.
18.
18 and a half. What was the biggest one you ever got, Matt?
The biggest one ever I saw was 23 pounds.
Right.
But I'm not saying where it comes from.
Okay, all right. We're not digging any deeper there.
I'm not going to say any more.
What about yourself, Graham?
Yeah, yes.
The biggest one I ever got was 7 pounds.
Well, I was the same. That's the biggest ever I got was 7.
Was it?
Jimmy?
Maybe
Well, Jimmy, we
12 or
were
13.
that.
maybe.
I got one £16.
That was good.
I got the cup for the heaviest fish on the fly. I can't remember the year, a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Good fish.
Good fish.
Aye.
Well then, the hatchery, when did it start and what was the reason for that? Was that when the numbers started to decline?
We thought that would improve the stock, but
Yeah.
Aye, they wanted to stop.
Well, there were hatcheries all over the place, weren't there? I mean, there was
There
one,
were,
obviously
but
one in Bush Mills.
when you put the fry out, you know,
I
if you
remember
get,
doing it,
if you
yeah.
get pollution at all, they're gone.
Yeah, that's right.
And unfortunately, too much pollution they had in the rivers.
But the idea was,
Did the tag any, Jimmy?
What?
Were there ever any tagged?
The fry.
No.
Or they not?
We fun.
did they not cut a wee?
The wee back fun.
That's right. I remember being involved in that. They brought them out, and then the idea was you took them in buckets,
Aye.
way up above the headwater, way up as far as
way
you
up
could get,
above,
way up
aye.
above pollution
That's
and
right.
everything, and let them go up there. But
Yeah.
I think they were marked. Along
Yeah, they were.
Were they
so-
marked?
Yeah, I think they were
Aye.
marked somewhere. And then the hatchery's gone, of course.
You
But
know,
again, that was by
Aye.
government decree. I'm not sure what the reason for that. You know,
As
They're
it
all
no
around.
longer there.
the hatch. Well, it's not working. But all the hatcheries have been closed, as far as I know.
Right.
I understand they were worried about the genetics. And
Yeah.
they were worried that the wrong fish were being, the wrong fry were being hatched from the hatcheries along the river, and then they weren't native to the Agivey or to
Well,
the
yeah.
Agivey or
Never
whatever.
Were they coming in from other rivers?
Well, that was their claim, which I don't think was
No, but that's
right.
that's the case anyway. I mean, that has been shown down the west of Ireland and Delphi that,
Yeah.
that quite
Aye.
quite a percentage, not a huge percentage, but 5 or 10% of the salmon that come into the Delphi weren't actually Delphi salmon,
Mm-hmm.
and other ones from that were reared in the Delphi
Aye.
ended up sometimes in the west of Scotland.
Right.
But I couldn't see if you were lifting salmon out of the Agivey, and
No.
I remember they were careful to
Yeah.
keep the wee Agivey salmon and the main Agivey
Aye,
salmon
the main
separate.
Agivey.
That's
And
correct.
if you were lifting the salmon out of there
That's
and
right.
using her and a cockfish from the river, and then putting the fry back into the headwaters of the river,
Off the
what's
right.
the problem? But
But you try and tell that to
Oh, I
somebody
know
who's
that.
sitting in an office up in
well, then when did the tags come in? The tag system where you were restricted, because we used to. It was free for all. You could keep all the salmon you could catch, and people were catching a lot of salmon.
Where,
When did that come in? Was that
that's
a
not so very
No,
long.
it's not.
It's long after I was off the committee, so
Yeah.
you know I don't remember.
I remember that
he
done
did.
come on later on.
No, no. But
very recently? Like comparatively recently.
That's
yeah.
recent.
I remember back in the the very early days, we decided to curtail the season,
Yes.
but to the middle of October.
Yeah.
Aye, that's right.
The Irish Society wanted us to curtail it for the whole of October, but
Aye.
the committee decided we'll do it in the middle of October,
Uh-huh.
and that was to try and help the stocks and make sure that the spawning fish could get up
Yeah.
the river. But I don't think that made that much difference.
No.
Not a while lot.
No, I mean, the tag system's been in, is it 10 years now or something
More-
like that?
more than that,
More,
probably.
15.
Nah,
Yeah.
bit more than that.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's some rivers where you're allowed to keep one fish, that's over in the, like the O&A, for example, in Donegal, but ban system's closed completely, you're not allowed to
Yeah.
keep
Well,
it.
but does it come into effect? Do people apply to that,
Well, I don't know.
or do they?
Now, I don't know about what are you suggesting here now?
Well,
Suggesting? You're
I can
surely
give you
not
a few
suggesting.
I can give you a few examples. I'm not willing.
Remember, this is being recorded. The trout, it was always a very good trout river as well. And when I was a teenager and even in my 20s, I used to go out and we used to get some great trout.
Oh, there's some good
Some
trout.
great trout in
It
it.
is a good trout river.
I think the trout have possibly gone back a wee bit as well, but again, that might be multifactorial, but it is a good trout river.
Yeah.
That's-
I think they're smaller trout now than they were.
Yeah.
We used to get bigger trout,
Yeah.
but maybe that's the feeding.
Well, whatever it is, yeah. I mean,
I think the wee Agivey would be better trout.
yeah.
Aye. It always
You know,
was.
better distant trout, anyway.
I remember your average trout was in excess of £1/4.
That's right. Well, aye.
4, 5, 6
Oh, aye.
ounces. Now, half pounder was a
Yeah.
That's
trout
right.
too.
That's right.
Because you'd be lucky to get a bag full of those now.
Oh,
Very seldom you get a bag for them
Yeah.
around, I would think.
You remember the tackle that we used? How it has changed over the years.
Oh,
Jimmy,
God,
you
aye.
remember the greenheart rod?
I was,
Aye, the green
I
heart.
was just thinking today that a man came to fish the Agivey for salmon.
Yes.
He had a spinner rod, a reel, a line, a hook, and a wee bit of lead, and a ton of worms.
Yes. And that was it.
Aye, that's right.
And they caught salmon
Yeah.
on the Agivey.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember catching a small grouse one night, and somebody said to him, Tommy, if you put that back and let it grow a wee while, he says, back a better fish. And he says, well, an expert could catch it when I give you it. And I said, perfect sure one.
Well, believe it or not, I started my salmon fishing with a greenheart rod. It belonged to my great uncle, Davy Glenn Kerr.
Aye. I made them.
A big, heavy brute of a rod it was. And I broke it one morning on Torrance's stretch, just below, well, it used to be known as the Ash Bush, then it became the Car Hole. Just down there was a big oak tree that grew out over the river. And I lifted into you had to wade up and under the oak tree to fish the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the fish on and I lifted into it and hit the rod on the branch of the oak tree and it snapped. And I went down to Graham's, wasn't it? Graham's
Aye.
in New Road.
Yep.
Aye.
And my mother's 1100, wee Morris 1100 the next Saturday morning, and I bought myself a state-of-the-art 12.5 foot hollow glass rod.
Oh dear.
And I fished with that for many, many years and I got a lot of fish on it.
Oh,
They started off with green hearts, and then
Aye,
there was
that's
split cane,
yeah.
and then solid glass. And you're still talking about pretty heavy stuff.
They're heavy.
And then the hollow glass was
Carbon.
getting later, and then of course modern carbon fibre
Oh,
rods.
I carbon fibre.
Because everybody fished for salmon in those days with two-handed rods, simply
aye.
because of the
Aye,
weight.
oh, then
Because of the weight.
Yeah.
Aye. The tackle has changed,
Tackle has changed.
and we've had a lot of characters in the club
Characters
through the
have
club.
changed.
That's the people you
yeah.
must. Yeah.
But in our own club, we've had a number of people who have fished for Ireland. And I hope I haven't left anybody out, but there was Arden Pollock, Ian Pollock, yourself, Jimmy, Bert Atkins, John Chestnut, Stanley McCart, and Brian Culver. And they all fished for Ireland.
That's
So that is a fair
That's right.
reflection on the club's ability.
Stanley McCart done a lot.
Aye, Stanley.
Aye, Stanley was a good
Class
fisherman.
angler. And of course, there were other great anglers, what my father used to describe as people who had the knack. It's not everybody has the knack, but
Not everyone has the knack,
certainly
aye.
some people did. Well, people like Bert Atkins for sure. Hughie Mullen was another one.
Aye.
Hugh
Aye.
Mullen, aye.
Hugh Mullen.
Aye.
Good
Hugh
fisherman.
Mullen was a good
A
fisherman.
great fisherman.
He was.
And it's rubbed off on his nephew, Lester McCloy, too. I don't know if Lester still fishes as much, but I remember one day coming down Pat Kane's, and he was, in those days, you know, there could have been 7 or 8
Yeah.
people fishing down the stretch. And he says, "Go you on ahead there, young Kerr," he says, "go on down there and I'll come behind you." And he insisted that I go in front of him. And he knew where this fish was.
Yes.
He knew exactly where this fish had been heading and tailing. And he let me go in front of him, and I paused over that fish, and I fished, and I better fished over the fish. And eventually I went on, and he came down behind me, first captain.
Oh, aye, for aye. Oh, he was a good fisherman.
Some people had the knack.
Oh,
A
aye.
good fisherman and a good shot.
Oh, he was. Mm-hmm.
He was,
Very good
aye.
shot. Aye.
I mind him showing me a church Algonny had one time.
Aye.
God, it was a lovely hurt.
He was a good character.
Oh, he was a character. What did tell your man? Was it McDermott? What they called the boy at the stutter that down there at McDermott?
Sloan Moore.
Sloan Moore.
Oh, yes.
Sloan Moore was fishing the long eddies up there. And Hugh Mullen, he was fishing the worms and Hugh Mullen was fishing the fly.
Yes.
So your man Hugh come down and he said to your man, he says, "Would you mind taking the worms out?" He says, "To I would fly."
Uh-huh.
No, your man says, I'm not taking them out. And he says, "I'll tell you something. If you don't take them out, you'll follow them." and your man says, when I looked at the man, he says, I decided I would take them out.
He was a big, strong man. Hugh
Oh,
Mullen.
aye.
God, he was a big, strong man. Definitely was.
Well, then, I remember one other occasion that I was fishing in Torrance's stretch again. I went up to the ice bush of the car hole, and I fished it up from the sword hole. And Joe Calvin was standing at the top, and he was getting very excited, and he says, "You'll not believe this," he says. "I have risen a fish there in the stream," he says. "I must have risen it 12 or 14 times. It came to nearly every time he threw over it, the fish was turning at it. And he says, I've had it, I'm giving up." He says, "Go, you have a throw for it." So I went up, and I started at the top and threw over where he said. And I must have risen it 12 or 14 times as well, over the next 10 minutes. And with that, Bert Atkins came up the river, or he might come down the river actually, and we told him this story, that we'd risen this fish each, we must have risen the fish 25 or 30 times. And you know what Bert did? He went down to the bottom of the pool and he started to fish up at the salmon. Now he didn't get it. In fact, I'm not even sure that he rose it, but you see, do something different.
Different.
Aye.
Do something
yeah.
different.
Different angle.
And what he might have done was cross the river and fish from the far side.
You've got to change the stamps.
But Bert always said that.
Aye.
Do something different.
And Bert was a good fisherman.
Oh, great fisherman.
He was.
And I remember he once said to me, coming back from Loch Earn, he said, "There's only 2 things you need to know about fishing." He says, "You have to have the right fly for the day, and you have to fish it at the right depth."
Aye.
And I always remembered that.
Yeah,
Aye.
that's right.
Aye.
But how do you work out what's the right fly when there's hundreds of flies?
Aye, you're right.
Aye.
Now, I fished up at Portnaw, and Norman McAteer fished up there.
Yes.
And I remember one day I was up Portland. Norman arrived up in the car about, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And they went out and took a wander out along the skis and back again, and came up and had a chat with a few folk. And went back to the car and got a flask out and had a drink. And went back out over the skis. And about 12 o'clock he says, that was a good day's fishing. I'm away home now. He never even took the rod out of the car. But he had a good day's fishing.
He did enjoy himself, yeah. Robin Paul was a great fisherman too. Wasn't it Robin that got all the fish at Laganeel one day? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Well,
that, no.
I hope I'm remembering this right. Do you remember, Jimmy?
No.
Well, there was one Sunday afternoon at Laganeel where there were a lot of fish. There could have been 100 fish in Laganeel or more. And there were a lot of fishermen. And Robin came down and he caught a fish. And then he got another fish. And by the time he got the third fish, everybody was wondering what fly he was using. And they were changing flies, and they were what they thought were fishing exactly the same fly.
Yes.
And then they studied him closer, and they were starting to fish exactly the same way as he was fishing. And I think there were 13 fish caught that Sunday afternoon in Laganeel, and Robin got every single one of them.
Good. Aye.
There's a boy that has the knack.
Aye,
There's
sure.
something special going on there. You know?
Definitely.
George Watt was a good fisherman too.
Mm-hmm.
George Watt never had a fly. When he was coming over to the Agivey, he tied himself 3 flies.
Mm-hmm.
And he said always tie a blue fly for the Agivey.
Right.
And George Watt never hardly missed a salmon. Anytime he come over, he got a fish.
Yeah.
But he always fished with a blue.
A blue
Yeah.
fly.
Blue fish.
Yeah. Well, just
So I
to
don't
show
know
you, yeah.
whether that's...
And Wooly McCurdy, you remember McCurdy?
Oh, mind McCurdy.
Laganeel, fishing the worms.
That's aye.
And lighting the pipe, and he was as young fellas we would have been sitting listening to this old, talk that he went over, this County Antrim accent, and he would make a whole thing about lighting a pipe and cutting the tobacco and shoving it in.
That's right.
And then he would strike a match, and then he would hold the match like that there in his hand, and he would turn around, talk to you,
And it burned
until it burnt him, and then to hell, and he would throw it down and strike another one. He would have done that maybe 5 or 6 times, deliberately, just to show how tough he was. I remember he was fishing worms from the summer seat one time, and he threw these worms out, and they just landed out about 6 feet. I said, "You're not throwing them very far. There's no fish there, surely." Aye, he says they can swim to it.
Aye. I can swim to it.
There was another boy had the knack, Robert McAllister, up in Rome. The McAllisters, of course, had the run of Rome, you may say.
That's right.
He knew all about it.
Oh, he knew inside out.
He
But
did. And there's other boys, like Terence O'Hagan up the Glen, there was a great fisherman too. Terence O'Hagan.
Aye.
He used to
Terence,
Terence,
aye.
he knew those waters up the top.
Well, there was a lot of good fishermen there,
Aye.
over the years.
There was another good fisherman, and he got a lot of fish up the Glen, was Jim Stewart. That was Bert's.
Jim
Bert's
Stewart.
uncle.
Mine Jim.
Fished with a big heavy rod and just in behind bushes.
Mine Jim Stewart come into the Oaks one night, and the boy bought him a whiskey. He took a sip. He says, "What in under Jesus is that you bought me?"
Aye, in the Oaks.
I can overpay. I was on it that night.
But John, one of my favourite days on the Agivey was the last day.
Oh yes.
We had a big party at the 3 Oaks,
Yeah.
and Mickey Doherty was singing.
Aye.
Bertie Cuddy was singing. Charlie Service was talking about Bare Leg Joe, an old poem. That was a brilliant night.
Well,
Aye, surely.
I think those parties went on all along.
nearly all night.
Aye, but they went on at various places along there, Gavin.
That's surely.
Harry and the Bigfoot Irish Cheeseman.
Oh, why?
They're still there when we all left. They wanted it.
Nobody would chance it. I remember one very wet Sunday, the last day of the season, and Francie Welsh was still, and we were fishing down on Welsh's Stretch,
Aye.
down in the yard, and we it got very, very wet. We had 2 or 3 fish which we got late on, and we went up, and it ended up with the 4 people. There was Jack Thompson, Alan Thompson, Francie Welsh, and me,
Yeah.
and we were all standing in a wee, it looked like a telephone box. It wasn't much bigger than a telephone box. I don't know, a wee tin shed that he had.
Aye.
And some guy, Jack Thompson, produced a bottle of brandy.
Oh dear.
And to cut a very long story short, it turned into a great evening.
When you're talking about great evenings, whenever we started off the club, we decided that as well as getting an agreement with the riparian owners,
Yes.
we would have a dinner every year
Oh, yes.
and invite the riparian owners as our guests.
Yes.
And those turned out to be some fantastic days.
Indeed.
Aye, there were some
Uh,
weird nights.
Some perfect nights.
There were,
Yeah.
Aye.
They're still going.
Mhm.
I think
They're
they still
still
have
going.
them. Yeah.
When there was, the first one was it in Clonavon or something?
The first was in the Clonavon, and
Aye.
then we went out to the Oasis.
Aye,
Agivey.
that's right. Aye,
And they brought out the mashed potatoes in a basin,
aye.
Yes.
and a big scoop. On a plastic basin.
I remember them well. I
But
mean,
the
they were.
Clonavon was a lovely place.
Aye.
Aye, it was.
But they had them in Imperial then.
Oh,
Aye,
when it was
very
going
aye,
strong.
aye.
And that was the presentation of all the prizes.
Oh, aye.
That's right.
Aye.
Did it move anywhere else at all?
Can't think that. No.
It was,
The only
I
one
think it
I
was
can
over in
remember
Kilray.
of was the Clonavon.
No, it went to Kilray, to the manor in Kilray.
Oh, the dam,
Aye,
that's
aye,
right.
And it might have been in the bush town.
I could have been.
Aye.
Aye. Could have been the
Aye.
first thing. Aye.
But that's another thing, and it's a sign of the times. They used to have volunteers who would have taken youngsters on a Saturday, 4 or 5
Aye.
youngsters, or maybe 6 or 7, in a car, and taking them away to the river to fish and taught them fishing, and they had juvenile cups and all that. All that had to stop
That's right.
because of child safety and all
That's
that.
right,
and the rules.
aye.
And it's a sad
Aye.
reflection on society, but that's the way it
There's
is.
still a juveniles competition here.
Yeah, but it's not. You don't have an adult like Jimmy Black putting 6 or 7 youngsters in a car and taking them away. You know.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's unheard of now.
Aye. It's a pity too because you
Aye.
can pass on your knowledge.
Of course you could. Yeah.
But Bert Atkins ran a lot of fly fishing classes for those youngsters,
Yes.
and
He
he
did.
would have them all down and taught them how to fly fish.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was really great
Aye.
to encourage the young ones to
Sure.
come forward.
I think his sons has the place up at in Ballintemple,
Yes,
Aye.
or and
he's a lake up there.
yeah, he's a small lake up there.
Temple Springs or something.
Temple Springs, that's the very place. Yeah. Well, I'll ask you this question individually. What was your best day on the Agivey in your lifetime fishing it? And
Well-
there's probably many of them.
I can remember coming down the Agivey. We started up at Brone, and John and me came down the Agivey middle of April, I think, and we killed 58 trout,
Uh-huh.
and that was the best bag of trout ever we had.
Yeah, well, there you are.
That's a good bag, but
That's
Aye,
a good
it
bag
was
of
a good bag, and they were all good trout.
Yeah. There were certain places where you could have
Oh, aye.
exactly
Oh,
the same place.
That's right.
You could have got 3 or 4 big half
Oh,
pound
easy
trout out
enough.
of an area, maybe
Easy
2 or 3
enough.
square yards. You know.
Fishing the start of the streams, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
you were getting a real good trout at that time.
What about you, Graham?
I suppose my best day was an April day,
Mm-hmm.
and we went down to the bottom of the river, and we were fishing down just opposite where the wee Agivey comes out into
Yes.
the main river,
Yeah.
and I hooked my first salmon, and that was the best day.
That was your best day,
Yeah, yeah.
The first salmon, 7.5 pound.
Yeah.
I was a king of the
Nice salmon.
What about you, Jimmy?
The best day salmon fishing I had to give I caught 5 salmon.
Uh-huh.
You know, at the Hickory's Pool, most of them,
All of them.
all of them.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and that were the better day.
no. I'll tell you, I have a photograph, and it's my father and me at his, just across from his back door,
Yeah,
and we have 10 salmon
lovely.
laid out in front of us.
Aye, lying out.
He went out on Friday night and got 4. I went out on Saturday and got 5, And then he went out Saturday evening and got another one. So we had the 10 fish laid out in
Good
front
bag
of
of fish.
big
Oh,
bag.
but that nice bag of
Aye.
fish, yeah.
Lovely, aye,
But
lovely.
you know, I don't think you could ever blame the anglers
Not at
for the
all.
decline in fish stocks.
No, no, no.
We're only dealing with the last 1% or 2%. That's
I think there's a lot of them being caught out at sea.
well, that and it's multifactorial. And
Aye,
I
it
mean,
is.
global warming's bound to have
Oh, of
something
course
to do
it
with,
is.
you know, the
Aye.
Of course it
so
is.
lots of things. The fish are getting smaller and smaller,
Aye,
and,
they are.
and there's less and less of them. And
Aye,
it's the same
aye.
all over. It's not just the Agivey or the Ban or even the Irish. It's the same all over.
Yeah.
Is it the same south as well?
Everywhere. Everywhere. The only and I know it very well over in West Donegal, and the numbers are
Aye.
way down there, and the size of the fish is way down. And Stephen Smith was telling me he went down to Carysville for 3 days, I think he said. And he didn't see a single fish. Now, that's unheard of down there.
Boys, that's right.
We used to go down to a place called Shady Lodge, you know.
Yeah.
The River Owen Duff.
Yes.
I was down there 23 years.
Yes.
Stephen was with me.
Uh-huh. A great place.
Lovely fishing.
Yeah.
Out in the mountains, you know.
Oh, I know. I know.
Mm.
But, can I tell you a wee story about it?
Yes, absolutely, can I?
Well, you know, there were 12 of us at the lodge, so they're very sore of the milk. So I had to go up for milk every day, you know.
Yes.
I went up to the wee village to get milk, you see, and on the way up, I saw a big black cat killed in the road.
Yes.
So on the way back, I stopped, put him in a boot, you know. And the day before that, I saw a friend in a cage set, that's the gilly.
Yes.
He had a wire cage set, a wee bit of fish in it. Somebody told him there were big down there. And I took the black, when I get things quiet, I took the black cat down. And I couldn't get them all in the cage because that big. His feet were sticking out in the sand. So I stripped it with a stick, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then I got scared of a friend would take it the wrong way, you know. And then I went to this friend, I think I saw a cat in our cage, you said. Tell me about it, he says. The worst case of suicide ever I saw. I don't know what we would think it, you know.
There's another famous old angler who was a very skillful angler, had the knack. It was Rafe Robertson. Do you remember Rafe? Rafe Robertson lived in Garva, and he was.
I mind
You
Rafe
remember Rafe Robertson?
I do.
He was a character, First World War veteran, and he ran the picture house.
He's the picture house.
He's the
Oh.
picture house. But he loved trout fishing. I think he preferred trout fishing to salmon fishing, and he used to tie lovely flies. And he told me a story one time that he spent all day tying these beautiful dry flies, maybe a dozen, maybe 2 dozen flies, and he put them into a wee matchbox and he set them up on the mantelpiece. And the wife came in the following day, was tidying up and dusting, lifted the box of matches, gave it a shake, knocking on through it into the fire.
You talk about good days fishing, but
Yeah.
the most frustrating days fishing ever.
Plenty of them, Graham.
Oh, aye.
I went down to, you know, Hazlets at the corner there,
Yeah.
and I was fishing there, and I was down all afternoon. I went at lunchtime at noon,
Yes.
and I was down and I fished all afternoon, and there were fish rising all over the place. I raised 3 or 4 fish, but not a single one would take me.
Yeah.
And at about 5:30, my father-in-law, Joe, came down,
Uh-huh.
and the first throw he killed, caught a salmon.
Surely.
Boy, that the one most frustrating
Oh,
day
yes,
I had.
I know. That happened to me at Brome
Oh.
with Robert McAllister. I was fishing worms, it was big heavy water, and I came down from the Moneycarry side, down that steep bank, and I got into the position, you know where I'm talking about, down below the tree peaks. And I had a bundle of worms, a lot of worms, and I fished, I just took them down, dropped them in, let them float down, dropped them in, and this went on for, I'm sure, 45 minutes, and I wasn't getting a thing. And Robert McAllister came down from his own place on the Brome side, and he chatted a wee minute. He put on the worms, threw them across, straight into a fish. Straight in.
Aye.
Right where I'd been fishing for.
That'll nearly make you go home.
Not even that.
Aye, but he had the knack.
Oh, he's the night. Every road.
Aye.
Aye.
How you doing, Ralph?
Roger up there was a pretty bad fisherman too.
Oh, sure.
Who's that?
Roger Doherty.
Oh, aye, Roger, yes.
Aye.
Good fisherman.
Yeah.
You must sell characters, man.
Oh, you must send characters, all right.
If you meet somebody now, get up and give a, is it high belt speak?
Aye.
Oh, aye, that's right. Oh, there's ways like that.
Well, if you said, I know he wants to speak
He
to
wouldn't
you.
speak to you. That's right.
But there was some of those boys that didn't bother taking out a license or a permit or a thing.
Yeah.
They went down to the river, but they didn't take them all the way the road.
No.
They
No.
just cut them a solid branch
Yes.
and tied a bit of line to it,
Uh-huh.
That's right.
And
Dangled it in.
and they could catch fish.
Oh, yeah.
It was far better than
Well, certainly trout.
far better
Certainly
than the
trout.
legal ones.
Yeah. John Clark was another character.
I was.
John didn't worry too much about the seasons.
Not at all.
Around the garden. He said there was some good fish he said ran in before Christmas.
Don't think you know what a season was.
No. Right.
It was a good
No,
one.
you know, we live over near Carn Row,
Yes.
and Wilson's farm just looks down on that there.
Yeah.
And there was one day my father-in-law went down to the Carn Row, and the hunters were down,
Yeah.
and they said, "Come on into the hut here with us."
Uh-huh.
So they went into their hut, and sure enough, down comes what's his name, Wilson. You know,
Aye.
down he comes into the rod, catches a fish, the way up home again.
Uh-huh.
Well, my hunter says, "Sure, that'll not do us any harm."
No, there you are.
No.
Gerald Wilson.
Gerald Wilson, aye, yeah, exactly.
There are some good days on it.
I remember fishing for trout, you know, John and the
Yeah.
Ree,
Yeah.
you know, Crow Bridge there.
Aye.
And them days, the postman right after do was Dick McFadden.
Yes.
Rode a bike,
Yep.
No, that.
Dick, and I stopped, you see, and he looked over the bridge and he says, "Hey, Daddy, look, son." I says, "No, I'm not a bit surprised." He says, "Do you see a wet thing like that there, son? All the fish is up below the bridge, son." And you know, I knew he was telling me a joke, but they see it the way I tried it. No good, no good.
Yeah.
There are plenty of them boys about.
Well, looking to the future, boys, with 50 years now behind us, how do you see the next 50 years? Or let's start with the next 10 or 20 years.
Yeah.
How do you see that happening?
Well, I hope I live for another 50 years
You hope
to
to
see
see
what
it.
what
Hope to
happens.
see it,
I don't think. I can't see big changes on it,
No.
except the salmon goes altogether.
Yeah. Do you think we'll still be catch and release in 10 years?
Oh, I think
Oh,
so.
God,
I think that's here to stay.
yeah.
I think so.
Well, then let me ask you this question. If it's as bad as that and the salmon's in such decline and in such dire straits as it appears to be, would we not be better stopping fishing them completely?
I don't think it's right to fish, to catch and release.
I would tend to agree with you.
If you hook a fish, you should be hooking it to take it home with you.
Yes.
You should not be hooking it to release it again.
No.
That's cruelty to me.
Yeah. Well, not
And I
only
think-
that, the fish has a limited amount of energy stored, and
Mhm.
you're using up an awful lot of that energy just for your own sport and pleasure.
And they're getting
No.
the fish out, they're taking a photograph of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's not all.
No.
No.
Get it in quick. You know.
And
Well,
as for
I-
worming, I mean, worming
Oh,
and then releasing the fish,
Oh,
I can't see any sense.
that'll
in it.
die, that fish.
Does it make any difference
What do you mean?
whether you let them in or not? I mean, they used to say when the boys was out netting them, "Oh, that's not going to help any," but did it matter?
To
It never mattered one bit.
No.
I think it'll do more harm than good.
Aye,
Catch and release, because it means
I
that
think
the
so.
angler, the salmon anglers won't go to the river.
Yeah.
That's right.
And whenever the anglers are not in the river gets into very bad
Well,
state.
that's right.
That was one of the things we've learned, that the anglers being on the river is the best thing for the
Yes.
stock in the river.
You know, watching it.
That's
And we started to try and maintain an asset for the local community,
Yes.
and I think that we've done an awful lot of work to it, and I think it needs to keep going with the locals being in charge of it and looking after it. I think it'll still be there in 50 years' time.
Right.
maybe different format, more
Yeah.
salmon, more trout, less salmon.
more trout. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
Yeah.
probably.
The
was.
grills will come back.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. That's very optimistic.
It is.
Doesn't it mean it could take a few years?
Oh,
Oh, aye.
oh,
And it's not, as I said before, it's not just the Agivey River or the band system or any of the. It's
Oh, it's all over.
It's all over.
if the salmon's not in the river to breed, how are they going to approve of come back again?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my point.
That's right.
I
Do you think the farm,
if the numbers is
farm
down,
fishing has been to the detriment of?
Well, who knows? As I said, it's multifactorial, and that may well have something to do with it. That was the ruination of the sea trout down the west of Ireland.
That
Was the sea trout farm
But I mean, the Agivey River has changed a whole lot because
or the salmon farm?
I mind fishing it and there were all kinds of eels and everything on it. You wouldn't see an
you
eel
don't
in
see
it.
an eel. That's true.
Do you know?
Even in the barn.
No.
oh,
I mean, I used to watch a man from up there from beside John McGlinchey in them living. He used to come down with a sap, what they call it,
Yeah.
all the worms.
Yeah.
He'd have been down there maybe 2 nights a week,
Yes.
down to the barn,
Yeah.
and come back with a host of them.
Yeah.
aye.
You wouldn't see that now. You wouldn't even see a needle.
Frequently, when you were worming like an eel or anywhere on there,
Aye.
you would catch an eel.
That's
In
right.
fact, you usually caught more eels, a lot more eels. maybe
Oh,
than trout
of
or
course
salmon.
you would.
Yeah.
Especially if you were worm fishing.
Yeah.
Well,
What
the
they
eels
call
were
it,
just
was
the
to
first.
another eel come up there, Agivey. What was it?
A lamprey.
The lantern.
A lamprey hung on to the salmon.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't see one now.
No.
They come up with the salmon, you see.
Aye, did I?
Stuck to
The
it.
salmon used to be marked with them.
Aye.
That's
Oh,
right.
that's sure.
It's a big sucker, just stuck onto the
Aye,
side.
and
there,
a big mouth.
Aye.
But it's all changed.
Well, thank you all for taking part and sharing your memories of the Agivey Anglers Association and its first 50 years. There's no doubt that when the club was founded back in 1973, we were still in the heyday of salmon fishing. And there's no doubt that we've seen the best of the times. Maybe if it continues to decline, we'll have to stop fishing for salmon entirely, but hopefully not. And we'll have to concentrate maybe a bit more on trout in the meantime. But whatever the future holds, we wish the Agivey Anglers Association continued success in all their endeavours and all the best for the next 50 years.
Here.
Here, here.